Hey guys, how's it going? I'm going to set up this room for Steven real quick, and I'm going to send over the link so we can get started. So I'm not going to be able to answer any questions during these mentoring sessions. You guys can sit in if you'd like, but it's not going to be a Q&A for the public. It's just going to be between me and Steven. So I'm just going to set this up real quick, and then we're going to get started. All right, let me send this over to Steven real quick, and we should be good to go. We should be good. So I'm just going to wait right now, wait for Steven to show up. Once he shows up, we can get started. You guys will see the room kick off. Let me see what's going on over here. So let's see what's good with our trades over here. So it looks like our US 30 is pushing up even higher. Might even go up to full TP, but I'm probably not going to mess with it. I'm just going to wait for any possible scalp entries, and then I'll probably be taking it from that point. Damn, looks like I'm missing right here too. There's one, but the market's closed right now for the swap. Technically, there's an entry right over here. Or no, actually, this would have been the entry right here. That already would have hit full TP at that point, or it's on the way actually. There we go with that. G right here is about to hit full TP. I don't know if the NU filled yet, but still pushing as well. And then our your odds in profit as well. So we'll see how these play out. The GU looks good. US 30 looks good too. But like I mentioned, guys, I'm just gonna be waiting for Steven to join the room. This isn't really gonna be a Q&A session like the live session. This is basically just between me and Steven. But you guys can sit in because Steven probably has the same questions you guys have, and we'll get to that shortly. So let me just wait for him to show up. Otherwise, I'm going to keep looking for these trades right here. I think there's a couple of scalps that people are looking at as well. Let me check that out real quick. US 30 scalp. Yeah, there were some decent ones here. All right. It's going to leave this alone for now. And I'll wait for Steven to show up. Let me check this. Close that. Check the emails real quick. Yeah, look at this push up right here. I wish I had got into the scalp right here. It's halfway to full TP. Looks like we missed on a couple of scalps today, actually. Oh, it's all good. Catch some of the next ones. Send them this link real quick. If there's anything else here. I don't think there's anything else that I'm looking at. I think everything that I was possibly looking at it's pretty much done for the most part. So like for this right here, there's a lot of entries here that were available. Like here for odd CHF, rejection off the structure, rejection off the pivot, long position off that. That would have hit full TP, it looks like. Yeah, 36 pips. Other than that, there's actually another one right here too. This one's around that area. But I probably would have messed with these, not for scalping, not odd CHF. Probably something like that moves faster. Odd NZD probably. Yeah, a couple scalps right here. It looks like this one would have hit, or it's on its way to full TP. There's another one right here in TP as well. So these both look good. But yeah, I'm gonna save my energy, guys. I'm just gonna wait for Steven to show up. Been on these charts all day today. It's kombucha, watermelon wonder. GT, it's interesting. Yeah, guys, I typed in the chat real quick to just activate it. But I think other than that, we're just gonna be hanging tight for a bit. Euro Otter here looks decent, dropping back in profit. What else do we have here? GA looks all right. Looks like it's gonna fill right now. Draw back into profit. NZD USD. I don't know if this filled yet, but we'll see. Let's answer these questions before we start. Hey, Steven, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
All right, cool. We're good, man. How's it going?
Going good so far.
Good to hear, bro. Good to hear. All right, cool. So let's get started. So do you have any specific questions or do you want to cover something specific just so I have an idea what we're going to be talking about today?
I want to go over the Snipe strategy, and I want to pick your brain on what is the like best strategy you use or most like consistent strategy you use for your day trading or intraday trading.
Yeah, no, definitely.
For Forex pairs.
For Forex pairs, yeah. So it just depends on what you're trying to apply. For me, myself, all the signals that I call, I use the K2sr strategy. I'm not sure if you saw that in the course, but that's the main one I use for all the signals. I use that. Then I use the daily US 30 strategy. And more often, like more recently, I've been using the scalp strategy for pretty much everything. I think that's probably what's hot right now. And it's something that everybody's been using, that everyone's been having like good results with. So those are the three main strategies that I've been using. So basically just the K2sr strategy. We'll cover that. And then we'll cover the Snipe strategy as well. Pretty much what everyone else is using. And then we can look at the US 30 daily strategy as well. So
yeah, I don't see you use the actual indicator as much. I just usually see you use the zones and the pivots.
Yeah. So that's because the new strategy, the Snipe strategy, that's all that you really need. I see like some people do use the momentum indicator. They'll turn it on. So if they see something like this, like if they see a scalp right here, they'll use like this, the momentum signals to give them that extra confirmation. Like for example, this one right here. So this one rejected off this point for US 30. And it also had this buy signal right here. So some people would look at that as, you know, an extra confirmation, but it's not really necessary. It's just like a secondary confirmation.
I kind of was trading the same way though. Using like the EMAs, using the 15, the 14, and if it was rejected off of the EMAs or at the same time as a good zone, then I'll take the trade if I had some type of engulfing pattern or something like that.
Gosh, okay, yeah, and that's kind of similar to what happened right here. Like for this candle right here, that's kind of exactly what you just mentioned. Like it rejected off the pivot, also
Yep.
structure, and it is an engulfing as well. So yeah, that's some way. That's one way that I used to trade a long time ago too. The only problem with trading that way is that it's kind of subjective, right? Because you're never really for sure. You didn't really have a set plan, like something to follow. Like there's always extra confirmations that you use. And that's kind of why I started using these indicators to get like proper zones. Because one thing that I realized when I was like drawing my zones before I created the indicator is I would place them in the wrong places, you know, because there's a lot of places you can place your zones. It just really depends on what you see on the chart. So that's why I created the indicator so I could determine, you know, what's a strong zone and what's not. So so let's get started with the first one. So do you want to start off with the K2sr strategy or the
Yeah,
Snipe
we could do
strategy?
that.
Okay, cool. So we'll start off with the K2sr. So do you have like a pair that you like to trade, a specific Forex pair?
I really like GJ and your GPB.
All right, cool. So we'll run through it on GJ because that's one that I like to trade too. So for example, right here, first off, when we start this off, since it's an intraday trade, I usually trade it on the 4 hour. So the first thing I do is I'm gonna have like a clean chart, and then I'm gonna turn on the K2sr version 2 indicator so I can get the zones on the chart. So first off, I'm gonna go and draw my zones on the chart right here. So I know exactly, you know, where the rejection points are. And you know how these indicators work, right? Like you know how the zones are and
Yeah,
everything else. All right, cool. So I don't gotta explain that to you. So
Nah, you're right.
perfect. All right, cool. So first off, I'm gonna draw
But that's what I do have a question about your zones.
uh-huh.
So I see it like it have multiple zones. I see you just drew one big zone. That's how you usually do it.
Exactly. Yeah. For example, like right here, you can see that this zone right here crosses over to this zone right here because there's two red zones right there. I would cover both of those. And then for example, right here, this green one crosses with this red one below here as well. So instead of drawing three separate zones, I'll just connect one big one because they all cover one area.
Okay, gotcha.
So if they're too close or if they're overlapping, I would just connect them together because you're not really going to take like small trades in between each zone. Like for example, like something right here, like there's like one pip. I think if you zoom in really, really close, you could kind of see that it's only off by like a pip or so. So it just wouldn't make sense for you to trade in between there. And I would just connect them into one big zone instead to avoid, you know, getting caught in some reversals. So let me see, I set this one up right here. And then we got these two last zones right here. And this one right here. So in this situation right here, when you don't have an upper zone, you definitely want to have a ceiling so you know where the rejection is going to come from the upside. So if you don't see it on the 4 hour, I'm going to go over to the 8 hour.
Yeah.
And if it's not on there as well, I'm going to go on the daily. If it's not on there, I'm going to go on the weekly. And there you go. You got some zones up here. So on the weekly over here, I'm just going to get the closest zone to the top side. And then I'm going to mark that up. Then I'm going to go back to the 4 hour right here. And then we're pretty much good to go. So once you have these zones set up on the chart, you're going to turn on the momentum indicator so you can see which direction to trade at. And I'll put the requirements for the strategy right here, and we'll go over some entries. So this is going to be the K2sr zone strategy on the 4 hour time frame. First requirement is confirm a break and close past K2sr zone. So that's number one. Number two, you're going to confirm the direction of momentum using the K2 momentum indicator. And then lastly, you're going to, actually that's about it. You just confirm those two and then you enter on the open of the following candle. And then pretty much your TP is going to be a TP set below the next K2sr zone, and then stop loss is going to be equal distance away, or 1-on-1 risk to reward. So for this right here, it's pretty simple. Like all you're looking for is a break and close past structure. So if I go back to, let's go back to over here. So for example, right here, a break and close past a K2sr zone is going to be like this right here, this green candle on the end, where price broke past it and then it closed. So once you have that right there, that's going to be the first requirement that's met. That's the first requirement. The second requirement is to confirm the direction of momentum using the momentum indicator. So you're just going to look back to the most recent momentum signal right here. And right here, we have a buy signal. So it is an invalid buy signal, but it's still a buy signal. So this is going to indicate that momentum is probably going to swing up from this point. So that's going to be the second requirement right there. You're just going to confirm the direction of price. Since it's a buy signal, you're only going to be looking for buys. So once you got these two requirements met right here, you can enter on the open of the falling candle. So as soon as this candle closes, you can enter a long position right here. You'll place your TP like right below the next zone, which would be somewhere around here, 40 pips. And then, like I mentioned, put the stop loss equal distance away for a 1-to-1. So pretty much once you have that set up, that's the entry right there. It's pretty much good to go. And then after that, you could pretty much just let this thing run. Let me move this over real quick. Yeah, you can just pretty much let this thing run. And then you can see right there that it went straight to TP.
All right.
Yeah, did you get all that?
Yeah, I was already like knowing about the KR, strategy.
Yeah.
But I didn't like use the zones. I was just trying to use the old strategy, with the Ichimoku cloud, and that's what I was using. I wasn't using.
Oh yeah. So you're trying to wait for it to break above the cloud, right? Or break below it.
I just was back testing. I haven't actually took trades with it yet. I just was back testing.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah. And this works both ways. Like for example, right here, this was the buy. And then for the sell, this would be a sell right here. So it's the same exact strategy. It's just in the other direction. So like, for example, here, confirm break and close past K2sr zone. So this candle right here broke and closed past it. So that's the first requirement right there. And then this is like a 2-for-1 because you confirm the direction of momentum. It's a sell signal. So that confirms both the requirements. You do the same thing here, short position, your TP is like right there, right below the next zone, which is about 100 pips. And then same with the stop loss. And then if you were to run it in, that direction, same situation right there. You hit TP off that. So this one's pretty simple. This is what I used for all the, pretty much all of the Forex signals. Because it's easy to follow since it's on the 4-hour chart. You don't really have to be on the chart all day. So this is the main one that I use for Forex on the intraday. And then you can see here, if you just look at it, you can see that there's a bunch of entries right here. And again, same situation over here, price broke structure. The most recent signal is a buy signal right here. So if you were to take that trade, it's the same setup. You just, you enter on the close of that candle right there.
Actually.
And yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Simple, 35.
I think once I learn how to draw the zones using the SR indicator.
Yeah.
I know how to draw the zones, then it's gonna be easier for me to just follow because the steps are easy. The steps are pretty much easy.
Yeah.
Making sure my zones right.
Exactly. That's the hardest part. So like on Sundays, what I usually do before the market opens, I'll draw my zones for all the Forex pairs. So once the week starts, I can just look like real quick, I'm going to see if there's a break and close past the structure. And if everything else falls within the plan, then I'll enter the trade. So I think, yeah, that's probably that's the biggest issue for a lot of people. It's just drawing these zones. The more and more you do it, the easier and easier it'll get. But it's super simple. Like you just look at the chart.
Instead of making it all complicated, and it's just like the easiest strategy I ever seen. Besides, of course, I seen the EMA crossover. It was easier for me too. But
oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I like this one because I've been using this all year, like for the past 2 years now, and it's been pretty consistent. Like it doesn't matter if it's like, because some strategies only work during certain seasons. Like if you're using like the EMA strategy, like you mentioned, the crossovers, those work normally during like the the spring, the fall, and they don't really work that good in the winter or the summer because the market's too slow. That's like when volatility is low. So something like this actually works like all year round. I've been using it all year, and like pretty much all the results that I put out for the Forex trades are just from using this one strategy. So it's pretty consistent. But yeah, so you get this one already? You're good with the zone strategy?
I'm good. I'm good with this. I'm good with this. Hold on. Just keep it right there for 1 second. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a snapshot of it.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
All right, we all good.
All right, cool. All right, so the next one we're probably gonna cover is gonna be the let's see. So do you apply the daily US 30 strategy, or is that not something that you like to play with?
I took one the other day.
On
Actually,
yesterday?
yeah, I took one, and it actually didn't hit TP until like today, I think.
Yeah, man, I think it took forever. I actually closed out of that early because usually I don't like holding trades like instant day. And I think that was the longest US 30 trade I've held in like a long time.
Yeah, I was just like, God damn. I was like,
Yeah,
I ain't never seen US 30 move this slow, bro.
exactly.
500 pills, you couldn't
Yeah.
go 500 pills either way. I was just like, God damn.
Yeah, because that thing moves pretty quick. Usually it moves like 1,000 pips, 2,000 pips. But yesterday, man, it didn't even move like 1,000 pips. I was like, damn, for real? Like I never seen the market that slow before. In a while. So you get that strategy, right? The daily entry. That one's like probably the easiest one.
Yeah. I get the daily entry. You just market open, and then once you get your first valid K2 signal, you take it and go 500 pips, you know, from there type thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, so you're solid on that. You don't really need to cover that one, unless you want to go over it. Do you want to go over it, or are you good?
No, I'm good on that one. I actually know that one.
Okay, cool. So I think.
So what would be? I do have a question though.
Yeah.
So if you don't get, is it a certain time period? If you don't get a K2 signal, or you just wait for the first signal?
Yeah, so I usually wait until 10:30. Once it reaches like 10:30, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like how the market moves, like the sessions, but basically the way that US 30 moves is that it moves like in two impulses. So let me just show you real quick what I mean by that. So like for example, right here, we had price kind of push up, and then so this is the session for today. So basically the way that you kind of see that there's two impulses. There's one right over here. Oh shit, let me see. I'm just gonna draw an arrow. So basically, like when the market first opened, you can see that it kind of had a little impulse this way.
Yeah.
And generally what happens is once it reaches like 10, actually no, okay, so that's wrong. So the first impulse was right here when the market opened until like 10, like mid-market, 10:30. That's usually where it starts to impulse the other direction. So it'll go up one direction, and then halfway through the market, it goes the other direction.
Right.
So it almost always does that every day. Let me see if I can find one from yesterday too. Maybe not yesterday because the market was barely moving, but let me see if I could find it here. All right, 6:30, the market opened right here. Oh yeah, it played out perfect right here as well. So again, right here, you can see that there's two impulses. Like when the market opens, it pushes down this way, and then around 10 o'clock, it goes the complete opposite. So if I was to take a signal, I usually would take it within this area up until 10. And then once it hits 10, that's kind of too late because I don't want to get caught in the reversal, right? So in that situation, I would probably, once it hits 10, I'm starting to think about it. I'm like, do I still want to take this risk or not? Or if it hits like 10:30, I'm like, for sure, I'm done. Because I don't like carrying the trades into the swap because sometimes the swap it'll charge a lot depending on your broker. I remember on Hugo's Way a long time ago, they charged me like $50 for swap, and I was like, damn, I barely made like $100 off this trade, and I had to pay so much in that swap fee. So I don't like holding the trades into the next session. I usually like to just get out before the market closes, and then if it reopens in Asia, I'll just re-enter it if I feel like comfortable with it. But 10 to 10:30 is probably going to be the cutoff. Once it reaches that point, you probably don't want to take it because you don't want to get caught in a reversal. Like for example, here, if you got say you didn't get a signal here this whole time, and then all of a sudden right here at 10 o'clock, you got a sell signal, right? So if you were to take that sell signal, for example, like somewhere down here, this thing would reverse straight up on you. So that's why I wouldn't take it once it reaches like 10:30. And that's exactly where this time area is, 10 up until 10:30.
Okay.
So just keep.
So after 10:30, do you just go to your pivot strategy? Do you go to the snipe strategy from there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So once it reaches that point, or I'll be scalping like throughout the whole day. So I'll scalp like throughout the entire session, and then I'll also scalp, into Asia session too, because it works pretty much all sessions for the most part. Um, and it's pretty solid. I mean, during Asia session, it's going to be a lot slower, so you're probably not going to run into too many positions. Or if you do run into a position, you're probably not going to hit TP until like you get closer to London. So say if you take something, your central time. So say you take something like at 8 p.m. your time, you're probably gonna hold on to that for like maybe 4 or 5 hours until London opens, and then it'll probably push to your TP at that point.
Yeah, because
So
London opened for me at 2,
2 a.m.
and
Yeah,
then the Asian session actually opens for me at 3. So Asian session opens at 1500 for me. Yeah, so 3 o'clock until what? No, is that Tokyo? No, yeah, it's Tokyo, Sydney.
yeah,
All of those open until 2 o'clock.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So sometimes you'll find an entry like middle of Tokyo session, and then it's probably not gonna move at all until you hit London, and that's probably where you hit TP or not. So
I
I mean,
know, I know that they move in that session a lot though.
exactly, yeah. And I think like a lot of other people, what they've been trading during Asia session is the Aussie 200, the AUS 200. I don't really mess with that, but I don't know if it's something you looked at, but it might be something that you might want to take a look if you plan on
Nah,
trading.
the only other indice I traded was France 40.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So there's a couple here. Let me see the list real quick. There's a couple here that people in the group trade that I don't necessarily trade, but if you want to take a look at them, you could. There's like the AUS 200. There's the CN 500. I guess that's the Chinese index. And then they got the Spain index, ESP 35. And then the French one that you were just talking about, the French 40, German DAX, the Japan 225. There's a lot of indexes that I don't really mess with, but if it was,
I don't know if you ever noticed, but if you compare US 30 and JP 225,
Mhm.
they move just a lot. They
Oh,
move
for
damn
real?
near identical.
Yeah, that's crazy. I
Yeah,
never
like
really
if you
looked
do,
at this. Yeah, I was thinking that because it seems like all the indices kind of move kind of similar. What I heard from someone too was that they mentioned that the DAX is a leading indicator, so like or the leading asset. So if you look at the DAX, the move happens first with the DAX, and then after that, I think it's US 30. So I don't know if that's something that you ever looked at, but that's something that people mentioned to me. They're like, oh, if the DAX starts to move up, then the US 30 is probably going to move up right after. It's going to follow it.
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's something that you ever looked at, but
I
it's
do
not
look at
something.
correlations. I mean, I look at correlations, fundamental type stuff, but like
Mhm.
if I do, I look at the dollar if anything. I look at the DXY if anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the XY and the Euro. I think the main correlations for US 30 is going to be Euro USD, S&P, and the DX. Or I don't know about the DXY, but I know your EU and S&P are probably the ones that correlate with it the most, from what I heard from other people.
Do you trade gold?
Nah, I used to a long time ago. Until I got burned, and I was like, I'm not messing with this no more. Because gold is that's probably one of the most manipulated assets that I ever messed with. It's like
Yeah,
you'll be trading one way, and then all of a sudden it just spikes, stops you out, and then it goes back to where you were expecting it to go. So I don't really like to mess with gold, but I've seen a lot of other people using the Snipe strategy for gold, and they've been doing pretty well. So I might start messing with it again, maybe on the shorter time frames, but not really like it's not going to be one of my main things. My main thing is US 30. That's my favorite thing to trade, and then the Forex pair is just to pretty much run throughout the day.
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. All right, cool. So let's go over the snipe strategy. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna draw some zones on the chart so that we can see where these rejections happen. So when I draw the zones on here, it's pretty much the same thing. It's if they overlap, I just create one big zone, and then if they're close, I'll just create one big zone as well. All right. All right, so that's pretty much it right there. And when I'm doing when I'm scalping, doesn't matter if it's a 10-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, or 4 hour. If I'm doing the scalping, all my zones are gonna be done on just that specific time frame. So if I'm trading on the 10-minute, I only follow the 10-minute zones. I'm not going to go and find something higher because we're just looking for those quick movements, for the scalps. We're not really looking for the long-term movements. So the zones like on the 1 hour, 4 hour, they're going to be irrelevant because we're not trading that far out. So once we got that, I'm going to turn on the pivots right here, and then I'll just put out the requirements right here so you can see what we're looking for. So this is going to be the K2 Snipe Strategy. This will be US 30 on the 10-minute. The first requirement is that you confirm wick rejection of K2 pivot. It could be any pivot. The next one's going to be confirm wick rejection off K2sr zone. And then lastly, you just want to confirm wick rejection pivot does not touch candle body. That's pretty much it. After that, you can enter on the open of the falling candle. And you'll set a fixed TP stop loss for 50 points or 500 pips. Just depends on like what you depending on what you follow. But that's pretty much it. That's the strategy right there. It's super simple. And that's all we're looking for. So we could use let's use this for an example right here. So this most recent one right here, we confirm the wick rejection off the pivot. So if I go and I look over here, we have this wick rejection off that red pivot right there.
Right.
So we got that rejection off there. Second requirement is confirm the wick rejection off the K2sr zone. So this big zone right here is the entire zone. So we got the rejection off there. Those are the two requirements. The third requirement is to confirm the wick rejection pivot does not touch the candle body. So a lot of people get confused with this. You can see that this orange pivot is going through the candle. So that wouldn't qualify, but this is irrelevant because this isn't where the wick rejection is coming off. The wick rejection is coming off this red one right here. So if that's the case right there, you just ignore these three pivots up here. So when that's happening, you don't look at any of those other pivots. You're just looking at that red one.
Gotcha.
So right here, once you have that, everything's all set up. The next thing you do is you enter on the open of the falling candle. So basically what I do is I wait for this candle to close. I'll wait for the countdown. Once it closes, I'll enter a market buy. And then after that, I'll just set my parameters for the TP stop loss. So right here, you enter right there. Your TP stop loss is 50 pips or 500 points. 500 pips or 50 points. And then after that, you just let it run. And it's currently active right now. So that one hasn't hit just yet. And it's currently still running.
So right now, would you be using the K2 exit strategy, like taking?
So for the snipes or for the scalps, I don't use the exit strategy. I just let it run. I pretty much set and forget. But if I'm like watching it and the market's just bouncing around too much, then I'll manually exit it. But I don't move my stop loss and profit for this specific one because the win rate's so high. Where if I do take a loss, I'm just gonna eat that loss because I know the next one I'm probably gonna win.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So like this is one example right here. We have another one right here. I think this is the one we took during the live session because I know we took two during the live session today and they both hit pretty nice. So like first example.
All three pivots, rejection off the zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you see something like this where it rejects off all the pivots, this is gonna be like a strong entry. You could kind of anticipate that's gonna come with a strong bullish move after it. Because it's just showing a strong, rejection off this point. It's trying to like skyrocket off that. So right here, same requirement, wick rejection off the pivot. The first pivot right here would be the green one. So that's the main one we're looking at. The wick rejection off the zone as well. And then the pivot doesn't touch the body. So once that's all set up, you just enter on the close of this candle. And the same situation, you put, 500 pips each way. And then you just let it run. And then obviously, you know how this one played out, full TP right there with like little to no drawdown.
So you don't care about the zones that's up above it?
Yeah. We don't care about these up here because the way that this strategy works is it's indicating that momentum's coming. So.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So like when you see the rejection off here, this is going to indicate like a double rejection. And for this case, since it's rejecting off all the pivots, that's an even stronger rejection because you can see that it's trying to shoot right off it. So we don't really pay attention to the zones above because we know the momentum is so strong that it's going to break right through it. So we never really pay attention to that. when applying this strategy. So that's one entry that way. And then I think we have another one right here. I'll show you this one in the other direction. So pretty much the same thing again right here. We confirm the wick rejection off the pivot. It's rejecting off the green and the yellow, and it's also rejecting off the structure. So this is going to be a little subjective. It just depends on how you see it. Like for me, myself, I see the strong rejection and I see it pushing below the pivot. So for some, the SR zone, for some people, they might not see this as like a full rejection. But for me, I probably would have seen this as a full rejection. There's just a lot of clues here indicating that price is going to come down. Like for example, you see price crossing below the pivots. And generally when these pivots start to spread out like they do right here, this is going to indicate that a strong move down is going to come. And you can see that from these other pivots over here as well. Like you can see when price swings up and the pivot starts to spread out, that indicates that a strong move is going to happen, following this break past the pivots. Right. So for example, right here, price broke past the pivots. We got the rejection off the pivot, and then we have like a slight rejection off the zone. And once we have that right there, you could pretty much do the same thing. Take that short position right here for about 500 pips, and then pretty much let it run from that point. And there you go. Straight to TP, rejected off that structure, and then you're ready for that next move.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's pretty simple too. Like for all the K2 strategies, I try to make it as simple as possible because I feel like a lot of people, they like to overcomplicate trading, right? And like in reality,
second entry right here too.
Oh, what were you saying?
I feel like there was a second entry right here when it rejected off of the orange pivot and also the zone. It's a green candle.
This one right here.
Well, keep going to your left.
Oh, this one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a good one right there, actually. So yeah, looking at that right there, that's that's a pretty solid entry right there. It's good that you spotted that. So we got that rejection off the orange pivot, rejection off the structure. Same situation, enter a short position right here. Same thing, 500 pips right there, and then you let it run. And there you go, full TP.
Oh, it's crazy.
Easy as that. And this one right here, so this was one that someone in the group asked about this morning. So for this red one right here, some people have thought that this was an entry, but if you look pretty closely, you can see that the pivot's actually below the zone. So if you look at that rejection right there, that rejection actually doesn't reject off the zone right here. It just rejects off the pivot. So I wouldn't have taken this one right here.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I like to I only like to take trades that are clean. I don't want to take trades that are maybes. Because like, for example, here, if you were to take this trade, you probably would have gone stopped out off that one. Yeah, you would have gone stopped out if you were to take that trade. So that's why I try to take trades if they're like for sure. But if this is the case where it happens, like say, for example, here, you took a loss on this trade, then I would just skip. I wouldn't take no more sells. I would wait for price to swing up. And then as it swings up and comes back down, I would look for only buys.
Yeah, I probably would have been starting to look for buys just because of like the double bottom that formed. I was like,
Exactly. Yeah. So when it starts to look kind of iffy, like this is what I don't like to trade. I don't like to trade when price just like gets all in a mess right here. Like you can see price just go sideways and you see all these crazy wicks. When I start to see this, I'm like, all right, I'm out for a while. I'm gonna wait for it to smooth out again. Because you can see here, whenever the market's smooth, like you can hit this in both ways, where you can make a lot of money just like scalping this. But once the price gets kind of messy, like right here, this is probably where I would just chill out for a bit and then wait for it to smooth out again right here. Because obviously you can see over here, there's a bunch of entries. We have this red candle right here. We also got this green candle right here.
Got multiple entries right there.
Yeah, and they're all pretty smooth. Like it's really like a game of patience. You're just waiting for the market to get right. Like it has right here compared to how it's moving down here. Because over here, it just keeps crossing over back and forth. But as soon as it smooths out, you got a whole bunch of entries right here. You got 1, 2, you got 3, 4, 5. You got like 5 entries right there. So if you miss the first one, you can still hop in on the next one right here. Or if you miss that one, you could hop in on this next one right here. Or in some situations, like if you really know how to read the charts, like if you don't, like you know what the market's about to do, you can stack all these up. Like for me, sometimes I'll stack like 5 positions. I'll just take 5 positions, and then they all hit full TP. That's like 2,500 pips right there, which is like with like a quick little move, like from right here up until here. like in 2 hours, you're already locked in like 2,500 pips, just taking like a couple scalps right there. So yeah, so to talk my take on it, you know, like the win rate for the strategy is super high. So I do end up eating a loss. It's like it's cool. I don't even think about it because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make it back double or triple on the next move once it starts to smoothen out. But yeah, bro, I mean that's pretty much it. That's as simple as it gets. I don't know if you like ran into one that you were confused about because that's usually how this one how I work off this strategy because this strategy is still new. I just started using this like late December, like last week of December. I started using this. I used something similar to this before. It was mainly just the rejection off the pivot, but not a rejection off the structure. And what happened was I kept taking like some random L's. I was like wondering why I kept taking L's. And then I figured it out. I was like, okay, I got to add the structures to it. So I get a better confirmation. So I've just been using this lately for the past 2 months and I'm still working on it. That's why I haven't made like an official video yet because I want to see where it works and where it doesn't so that I can make little changes to avoid those, you know, those losses. But I mean, for the most part, it's been pretty good. So I don't think we really need to change anything.
Right. How do you feel? You think it'll work well on like pairs like USR since those kind of move? They're kind of just as volatile like US30.
Yeah. Which one did you say, bro?
Like USR, USDZR.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, like any of those pairs that kind of move the same, they work. This strategy works really good on it. Like I use it for EA, EN, GA, and GN because they both move really quick. But we can take a look at EURZAR. Let's see EURZAR. I personally haven't traded it, so I can't really say. But I mean, we can take a look. We'll see if it works well. I just don't mess with exotics anymore because you see how they have all these wicks right here. Like there's a lot of wicks, bro. Like this strategy is based off the wicks. So if you see so many wicks, you're gonna see a lot of things that you might want to take, and they might not be good trades.
Right.
You kind of want something that's kind of stable, not something that's moving around too much. But I mean, we could take a look. Let's see if there's anything right here. So we got that one right there. Draw the zone right here. But for the most part, this strategy works pretty well because there's a couple other people in the group that trade stuff that I never even heard of, and they've been killing it. I'm like, wow, it really works like that, huh? So I'm kind of trying to venture off too a little bit. I might look into some exotic because there's some exotics that move really smooth, like the ones that don't really get manipulated because they're not traded as much.
Yeah.
I think the ZAR is traded pretty often though, so you might have to trade something like the peso. Like there's this one dude, he trades the peso.
I like peso.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the guys, he trades a peso and he's been killing. He's been doing pretty good. So I'm like, I might take a look at that too because I heard that one is kind of smooth because it doesn't really trade as much. And there's like a huge difference between the peso and the dollar. It's kind of like UJ, you know, like UJ, GJ. Exactly. So they move a lot smoother. But let's take a look at this real quick. So for EURZAR, there's a, let me see if I can find something here. I mean, yeah, it's kind of tough because there's a lot of entries here.
It's a lot of entries, of entries. But it's like a lot of wicks, so I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it does hit, but the problem is like you don't know what's a solid wick or what's not, you know? Like, I mean, if you want to take your chances, you probably could. Like right here, there's this red candle. This looks pretty smooth. If you were to take this trade for a long position, I mean, obviously that would have hit full TP. Again, right here, this red one as well. It looks like it does work well. You just got to figure out to determine, you know, what's legit and what's not. Because I'm trying to find the bad one right now. So I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna see
the blue one right there at the top, I guess.
This one here.
Almost like no, go to your left a little bit. Right after the second entry you did.
Oh, this one right here. Oh, this.
All right, now go up. Right there. You got the double rejection off it.
Off the pivot right here.
Like a tweezer bottom.
Yeah, these two right here, right? Yeah, this actually is pretty solid. I mean, if this was the case, well, you know what? So this is what we probably had to do. We probably got to rewind to this candle, and there's probably zones right here that we didn't see because we were drawing the zones from far up. Oh, so there we go, bro. We got that zone right there. It's perfect.
Yep, had that zone right there.
There we go.
The zone, yep.
Yeah, so that's on point right there. You could have taken both of those. because they both rejected off it. So if we got those two right there, actually, this is a pretty good pair. I might take a look at this a little more often, see if it's something I can mess with. But yeah, that would have hit TP right there. And then we had this next one over it. And then the main thing with this too is just figuring out what the sweet spot is, for the TP stop loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, I already know what US 30 is because I pretty much back tested that thing as much as I could. So I know that 500 is good for the scalps. It's just for something like this, I wouldn't know. So it just would depend on where you want to put it.
So see, like I think the last two is like, I want to say 30, 300 pips, something like that. Look like.
Oh, for that? For the Eurozar?
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems pretty solid. 300 pips looks pretty good. Because that's the thing. Like when you scalp, you gotta know the number, like the exact number, because you want to have consistency. Because if your win rate's over like a 60-70%, as long as you have more wins and losses, then you're pretty much solid. That's what it really is. The problem with a lot of people when they trade is they use like different lot sizes and they use different TP stop loss like all the time. And then for some reason, some people are just really bad luck, bro. Like they'll take like 2 small trades, they'll win, and then for the one trade they take a big trade, like a big lot size, they end up losing. And I'm like, where's the consistency at? Yeah, exactly.
I did that like my first 2 months. I'm like, oh shit, I won first. I won 2 of them. I use a big lot size. No, shit, it took me out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way too. I was like that for the longest time until I realized, I really understood risk management. I was like, all right, cool. If I'm going to use this one strategy, I'm just going to use the same lot size, same TP, same stop loss every time, and it's going to work. For the Forex, obviously it's a little different because, when you trade the 4-hour, the ranges are going to be way different. Sometimes you're going to be really wide. Sometimes you're going to be really tight. Yep. So for Forex, I use actual position size calculator to get that down. But for US 30, I already know how that moves, and I know what the risk is. So I just use a 1 lot for all my trades, and then I just go for the scalps pretty much.
A 0.1 lot or 1 point a standard lot?
So a standard lot for FTMO is kind of similar to a 0.10.
Oh, 0.1. Okay, so like a 0.1. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it.
So for every trade, you make $500.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I take like maybe like 5-10 trades a day. Most of them are wins, so it's pretty solid on FTMO. I think it's pretty cool.
How long have you been trading, man?
What was that?
How long have you been trading altogether?
I've been trading for 10 years.
What's up? Yeah.
So I traded stocks and options first. That was like my first 2 years or first 3 years. And then I got like a normal job, so I couldn't trade during the morning anymore. So I was like, all right, I got to go to Forex because it's 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then after that, I just, I figured out how the Forex market works. So I just stuck with Forex, never went back to stocks. So it's been pretty good. And then now I translated over to US 30, and that's a whole different game right there.
Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah. But it's good though, man. Because I see a lot of people that flop on US 30, and I'm like, when people come to K2, they're like, damn, this thing actually works. Because I feel like a lot of people are looking for something that works for US 30, but they can't find something that's like consistent, like over and over again, keeps working.
Yeah. Crazy thing is, peso was my biggest earners. Like I had my biggest profit on peso was 2,300.
Damn, nice. Yeah.
And I'd be like, I trade US 30 more than and I didn't trade that peso a lot. I just seen a perfect setup, and I was just like, let me trade this. And I was like, oh shit, 2,300.
Yeah, exactly. Because the peso, that thing's crazy. It moves like pretty smooth. Like it's real smooth. Like even for right here, I was thinking about it just right now. I was like, man, if I was to take these scalps on here, yeah, it seems like easy, bro. Like the only problem with the peso is because I trade on Forex.com for my Forex. So it's the spread's crazy, bro. It's like 290,
Shit.
So did you trade it like on Hugo's Way or something?
KOT.
Oh, KOT. Okay, so you used it. Yeah, I think if you're using a broker like that, you have better spreads. But for me, when I use regulated brokers, because I used to trade a bigger account on my Forex.com, I was using like their special account. It's like a high volume trade account where you could only trade a standard lot. That's like the minimum standard lot minimum. And if you're trading an exotic, the margin on that's like, it's crazy, bro. It's expensive. So I couldn't mess with it anymore. But now that I'm back on this, I might switch over to like FTMO and trade this on there, because this looks pretty solid too. I was looking at it the other day with someone else, and it looks like it hits.
Yep, just gotta find that smooth TP.
Yeah, it's just finding. Yeah, that's the real deal. It's like, it's just, you got to figure out what the sweet spot is. Once you figure that out, you're pretty much good. Actually, I don't know if I do this on the 10-minute. I'd probably use it on like the higher time frame, because it looks like there's a lot of noise on here on the 10-minute.
Yeah.
Because I've been looking at it on the 4-hour. It's really smooth on the 4-hour right here. And one thing that I realized today, I don't know if I'm pretty sure you were on the session. Were you on the live session today?
No, I was actually at work around the time.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I know, because someone mentioned that they were using the Snipe strategy on the 4-hour, and they were hitting. I was like, for real? And I looked at it and I was like, damn, it actually does hit. So I might even stop using the SR strategy. I might just focus on this on like all the time frames, because some people use it on the 30 minutes, some people use it on the 1-hour, and then someone mentioned today on the 4-hour, and I was like, this is it's pretty lucrative, man. You can make a lot of money off this, just looking for the same thing every time.
Yep, and that's perfect. The way you're not looking for all these different like candle patterns or anything like that. You're looking just for this one setup every time.
Exactly. Yeah, and we're just looking for that momentum, bro, because that's really how the market moves, bro. Like, if you could find the momentum when price is moving, then you can just ride that momentum till, like, you hit as much TP as possible. Like, let's see, right here there's an entry right over here. It's rejection off this green candle. Pivot in the structure. You can take that for a short. Damn, there's a lot of pips. 2,000 pips. How many pips do you usually shoot for the peso?
So the trade I did, and I made the 2,300. I don't know if it was the news that got me that 2,300. I only went for like 250 pips, but once I got into a profit, I closed out my wrist. I broke even. I put it at broke even, just let it ride.
Yeah, because that's the cool thing with the peso. Like, when it rides, bro, it rides a long time.
It was one of the big jumps. I was like, God damn. So as soon as I seen it, I closed the trade. I was like, oh shit. It was this big ass green candle, like on a 1-hour, like massive green candle. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna come right back down. Let me go ahead and close this trade out right here.
Yeah, man.
I took it after that. It actually went right back down. I took the sell too.
For like, you took it both ways? Oh man, that's nice.
Like another 800. Then I was like, all right, time to go to sleep.
Yeah, man, that's good. Sometimes you gotta learn. You gotta know when to step away. Some people, they don't step away, bro, and they'll be trading like 24 hours, and then they start to get sloppy, and they end up blowing their account. It's like, man, you could just went to sleep. You've been good.
I blew my first account just from no knowledge, and then the second account I blew it trading US30. Didn't know how volatile US30 was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just copying somebody's trade, and it was a US30 trade, and I blew my workout.
Damn, yeah. That's why I don't really like doing the signals. I'd rather teach people how to do this, because I want people to actually understand, what they're doing. They're not just copying it. They're like, oh, I see this, I see that.
No lie, I have it. That's why I didn't buy the signals. I just went ahead and got the course, see what the course was about. I was like, oh, what the signals, see what the signals is about. But it's nice to know that, like, when I take a trade, sometime you'll be calling the same trade. I'll be like, oh shit, okay. So it's like, hey,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'm taking this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a couple people in the group, well, like majority of people, what they do is they wait for me to call the trade. And if it's the same one that they were looking at, they're like, all right, for sure, I'm going to take this trade. And they end up taking it and hits. So it works out both ways.
Would you have took that trade to the left?
Let's see which one. The
right there, what you just said.
This green one right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take that one. It looks pretty solid because it's a clean rejection. So I kind of use like other confirmations too, kind of like combining this with the SR strategy. It's kind of the same thing because we have the price break structure right here.
Yep.
I turn on the momentum indicator. See, we got the buy signal right there. So that's a cool thing with the K2 indicators and the K2 strategies is that they kind of line up.
Yeah,
like this strategy, if you're using the K2sr strategy, this would have lined up right here and you would have taken the same trade anyways. So if you saw this, you would have taken that right there. And then if you were applying the Snipe strategy, it's the same thing again right here, rejection off the pivot and the structure. So it'd be the same exact entry, you know, applying that. And that's kind of how I based all the K2 strategies. Like they're all based off the same thing where you're looking for there's going to be different entry points, but you're pretty much for the most part looking for the same thing. You're looking for momentum because you kind of want to see when, you know, momentum is showing itself or when it's like preparing to shoot up. And then you just pretty much hop into that trade. So like, yeah, I would take this trade right here. I still got to figure out the sweet spot. I think the sweet spot might be like 1,000 pips actually right here, because that's what it seems like. So if we do 1,000 pips right here, yeah, it's actually not too bad. 1,000 pips right there. Or I don't know if this would be considered 100 or considered 1,000, but if that's the case, I mean, it's like straight to TP right there. So it's pretty solid.
I wonder if it is 100. I'm gonna have to go ahead back and calculate. Look at my old trades.
Yeah, I would have to look at it too because it's different. It also depends on which broker you're using. Like if you're using Forex.com data, this is the data that I recommend for Forex trades because it's been the most accurate for me. I know a lot of people like to use Awanda. That's probably like number 2. But one that I never use is FXCM. I would never use that because I used that when I first started trading and they had like the worst data, bro. Like shit would like gap up and I'm like, what the fuck? I go from Forex.com to FXCM and I'm like, there's no gap over here, but there's a big gap on FXCM. So I wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah. So like certain brokers have bad data. So I wouldn't use certain brokers, but I know Forex.com is pretty solid. If you could find it on TradingView, then I would use that one first. And then, you know, obviously for other assets, you do use different ones. Like for US 30, they don't have Forex.com data. So I use currency.com, which is like the raw, it's the raw currency, the raw future data actually.
Yeah, I use Forex.com too.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty good. It's pretty solid.
Hey, your Tesla came out nice, man.
Oh yeah, you like it, bro? It came out pretty cool. Like I didn't know it was gonna come out like that kind of blue because I was looking for a shiny blue, like a lighter bright blue. But the car shop that was doing it for me, they were like, oh, we got this new blue, and so if you want to test it out, we could test it out. So I'm probably gonna have that for a couple months, and then I'm gonna switch it to like a brighter blue, like a metallic blue, or not a metallic, like a chrome blue, but it's kind of. Let me see if I got a picture here. I don't know if you've seen it. I've shown it to the group a couple times. There's like a. Find it over here. Yes, I'm trying to get this blue right here, this bright blue.
Oh, that's fire.
Oh, so that's that was what I was aiming for. I kind of got something close to it, but I mean it's a little darker, but it's still good too. Like the one that I got was what's the picture at? The picture's right here on my thing. Yeah, let me see if I can find it over here. Yeah, so the blue's kind of different, but I mean it's still pretty clean though. Came out pretty clean at that like bright blue, but I was looking for something that pops way more, like something like this. But it's all good. I'm gonna have it for a couple months, and I'll probably switch it off to this brighter one a little later.
Yeah, that Lambo color, that's crazy.
Yeah, that thing's crazy. But I mean, this thing pops too. It's just the thing I like about this Lambo color is that it pops like all the time. It's like super shiny. For this one right here, you got to be like in the sun. Like you got to be directly over the sun, and it'll pop. Like it'll look chrome. But I mean, it's cool. It's a cool color. I haven't seen a Tesla like this color before, so that's why I went for that blue chrome.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all good, man. I'm trying to get that McLaren soon, bro. That's the goal for this year.
What's the price tag on that?
I'm probably gonna get a used one. I'm probably not gonna go because it's gonna be like my first like real supercar. So I'm probably gonna go for like an older model, maybe like 2018. It's probably like 200K. It's around like 200K, between 200 and 300K, just depending on like what options you want to get, what color, what year, stuff like that. I'm trying to get the 720S. So that's yeah, that's gonna be the goal. Maybe not this year. It's probably gonna be next year. So I'm trying to get some real estate too. So I'm trying to stop myself from buying all these toys and, you know, actually invest in like long-term stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, I understand. Sometimes it's like I need some stuff to play with. Sometimes then you get back to business.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it gives me a goal, right? Cause like for a lot of people, they don't reach their full potential because they don't got goals. Like they're just trading to make money. For me, I'm trading to like afford this car, afford like this house, or afford something like that. You know, if you have
Yeah.
a goal like in mind, then you're like, oh, I got to make this much money this month for like 12 months or like 24 months in order to pay for this. So that's pretty much what I'm looking towards. Like it's just setting a goal. It's not really that I like these materialistic things. It's more so that I feel accomplished when I reach that, you know?
Yeah. I think besides of course getting my dream car, I want a Lamborghini. That's my dream car. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely.
I want to open salons for my sister because they do hair and stuff. And I want
Yeah,
to open salons because one of them do hair and the other one do nails. So that'd be perfect for them. You know what I mean? That's something I can invest in, and you know that could be a family thing we can start doing.
exactly. Yeah, no, same here. Like my mom, she wants to open a restaurant. She's been wanting to open a restaurant since I was a little kid. So that's probably gonna come before my next car. Actually, I'm probably gonna buy some real estate and probably open my mom a little restaurant after like COVID is done. Cause she does
Okay.
like catering on the side and stuff, but she's never like, you know, she's always wanted to open like actual shop, like actual restaurant. So that's gonna be on my list as well.
Oh yeah, for real, man. Hey, but hey, I gotta hit back in. Gotta feed my kid. So appreciate it a lot, man. This helped me a lot, man.
Definitely, bro. Yeah, man. If you have any other questions, you know, reach out. But I'm sure you got pretty much everything on lock.
Yeah,
You seem like you understand everything, so you're good.
I'm good to go for real. Appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, bro. Definitely. All right, man. So I'll talk to you later.
I know.
All right, bro. Catch you later.